Welcome to another episode of Business Highlight, a show by the Boca Raton Tribune. In Business Highlight, we highlight the local business professionals and what they do to our community. I'm your host, Pedro, and before we get started, please make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all those right there at the bottom. You'll be able to get us on over there. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Naved, a local cosmetic dentist at Health and Wellness Dentistry in Boca Raton, with offices in both Boca Raton, Boynton Beach, Lake Worth, and Jensen Beach. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Naved. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you. And thank you for having me, Pedro. I'm doing great.
Of course. It's great. So for people that don't know you, let's just get it going. Introduce yourself to us and we'll go from there.
My name is Naved. I was raised in Miami, Florida. Went to Florida International, FIU, for undergrad. Did a biology major and went to University of Florida. Go Gators, for dental school. And I finished dental school in 2009 and started practicing in the South Florida area. And, here I am 10 plus years later.
Yeah. So you mentioned a little bit about your education and schooling. So what made you decide to open up your first offices here in Boca? Because I know you have 4 different locations, but you mentioned to me that Boca was your first office. So there has to be a story there.
Yeah, basically, I'll tell you, I'm 28 years old, and I was interested in having my own practice and doing as much for the community as I can. So basically told one of the brokers, say, get me something from Miami-Dade to Palm Beach, and he had a wide radius to make that decision.
Yeah.
And that's what it was, and got me started in a great location that I'm happy with, and that was my stepping stone, starting in Boca Raton. Yeah.
So if you guys want to know, the website for the Boca Raton office is regencycourtdentistry.com. If you go over to that website, you can get all the information on what they do, and I'm assuming schedule visits and things like that as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We offer everything from general dentistry to implants, surgery, cosmetics, Juvederm, Botox. We just got this amazing new machine. Call and find out. It's called Evoke. It's facial reconstruction on the lower part of the face.
Yeah.
We have specialists in the office. We have a prosthodontist and oral surgeon on an as needed. Whatever the patient needs, we try to keep everything under one roof for the convenience of the patient.
Yeah. So I heard that you are part of the Board of Dentistry of Florida. So for the listeners that don't know what that means, what does it mean to be part of the Board of Dentistry of Florida?
Well, I'm humbled to say I was appointed in 2015 by Governor Rick Scott. And the Board of Dentistry plays a leading role in the state's ever-changing healthcare environment. Basically by communications with the public, legislator, dental schools, dental community, and through taking active role on the national dental organization level on helping our state run and function perfectly, protecting the public while growing in our industry. Yeah, so this was 2015.
Wow. So in 2015, you were as you mentioned to me earlier, and I thought that was amazing. You were the youngest member to be appointed to the Board of Dentistry, and also the youngest chair for this. So you served there for the last 5 years. Can you expand on what kind of things you guys did?
Oh, yeah. I was the youngest. When I was appointed, I was 32. So I was the youngest member ever to serve on the board. And 2019, last year, I was the first vice chair at my age. Wow. And this year, 2020, I was the chair. All comes with a lot of responsibility, which you can imagine this year with COVID-19 and how the whole thing went about. It was a very challenging year, and we came up with a lot of nice solutions with working with the Department of Health, the Board of Medicine. What you guys hear on the news and social media is there's a lot of work that went behind it to get to where we are, and thank God we're doing the best we can to protect our public.
Yeah. So what has been, 5 years with the board of dentistry? What has been, the highlights
Yeah.
of your time out at the board?
I think it would be this, Pedro. Exactly. The COVID-19 situation. We found the Department of Health working with us and making sure that the dentist and all the healthcare professionals can get back to work, help the patients, and doing it safely, and coming up with these rules and laws you guys always hear about on the news. And you can imagine the amount of energy and work it takes to get to that point. So I would say out of the 5 years, that was one of the most challenging but more rewarding aspect of being on the board.
Right. And, taking a step back a little bit to talk about, just your business as a whole, how has COVID-19, affected your business, if at all, throughout this year?
Yeah, so this year was a challenge, like for every other professional healthcare group out there. What we did as a team is we invited all of our employees back, to come back to work, and we saw emergency patients. We were one of the few offices open and taking emergency calls during the March, April, May. You remember, Pedro, when everything was shutting down,
right?
And we would get the emergency calls and take. The goal for me as a business owner was to protect the patient, not to go to the hospital and see me in my private office, to keep them safe, right? The last thing you want is someone with a toothache or an abscess to end up at an urgent care or Boca Regional Hospital or JFK in Palm Beach. And that takes chair time, that takes, staff of the hospital, which if I can be in any help, that's what we try to do.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you're local, and I'm sure you've done a lot with community services around the area. So what are some of those community service places that you've been involved in?
Well, just gonna plug in my laptop. Yeah, I've been in Palm Beach County now, Pedro, since 2011. Okay, so I've been in multiple groups on helping out. A couple of the groups I'm involved is Arc of Glades, with the patients that have disability, and we are able to help them. They will come in a bus, and we can help and do some dentistry for them. We're involved with Florence Fuller's daycare system for kids. We do a lot of examinations with them. And it's not all dentistry related. I've been in Jewish Family Services to do some dentistry with my personal group, a Salam Center at the mosque. We do screenings for them. Feeding Palm Beach, you guys have heard of.
Yeah.
We've done, when you see on the news that the car's pulling up and they open the trunk and the box goes in with food, we're behind. We did a couple sessions with Boynton Beach location and the Broward location, unpacking all that, and that was kudos to my team. I want to publicly say my appreciation to them, because we had a lot of team members that came and we did it as a team. The Feeding Palm Beach. So we're constantly doing things, and that's what makes me fulfilled. That's the part of being a leader in the community means. Okay, that's the definition of a true leader. That when you can go out and just get to work.
Yeah, you've done a lot of work with Florence Fuller, from what you talked to me just now, and what we've been seeing before in the news. So, what's been the most rewarding part of working with these volunteering locations and community service places?
We do it as Pedro. If we give an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours of our time, but the reward is actually on, it's that person receiving it. It's life changing for them. This is somebody. Let's use the example of Feeding Palm Beach, right? Everything is shut down. There's lack of food, and you're a family, and then you get a box of food delivered to you, or you're able to pick up. Just imagine what that person feels like on the receiving end. For us, I feel like it's our duty, right? To do. If you are able to help in any way, you should. The Arc of Glades, we do dentistry every day. So if you can help somebody with a disability and do the same thing you do every day, to them, it's a life-changing experience.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. switching gears a little bit, not only do you do a lot of community service, not only are you in the board of dentistry, but you're also involved a lot with academia and lectures. So could you, expand for us a little bit on what exactly you're involved in?
I was an adjunct faculty for Palm Beach State College locally. You guys are familiar with on the hygiene department. I was one of the adjunct faculty members.
Yeah.
And I still lecture for University of Florida on the business of dentistry. It's one of the last lectures to seniors, and it's the transition from dental school to real life. And they love that because they're so in zone with just studying and trying to graduate, and then you connect real life to when they get out to the workforce. They love that.
Right, yeah.
And then also a couple of the pharmaceutical groups for dentistry, bone grafting companies, and some other companies I lecture for. And again, that's because I love the field of teaching. And if it's to a patient or to another dental professional, if you have information, I love giving it out to others, and it keeps me fulfilled.
Is there like a specific moment that you can think of during your time in teaching and being a professor that really stands out among the rest of them?
Yeah, I think both of them would be with Palm Beach State College and UF. When you connect with that patient, that dentist or that hygienist, just one out of the room even, and they can say, and I'm very honest with them. I say, listen, dental school wasn't easy for me. It was tough. Studying 10 hours a day and being on student loans and stress. So when you can even connect with one of these students and say, hey, you're going to enter a field of healthcare and you're going to be able to help so many people. Just that if one person connects, I've done my job.
Yeah, no, for sure. So talking about helping out students and things like that, what would be some advice that you would give someone that maybe a student or maybe someone that's looking into going into the field of dentistry? If you could offer them a couple of pieces of advice, what would those be?
Well, I think it would be you have to have the love and the passion for it. It's not easy. And Pedro, you're listening to the news and reading, and we're in front of their face, right? We're going to be the ones at risk, even with COVID-19. Right.
Yeah.
You have the oral cavity, the respiratory system right there linked. So it has to be someone who's passionate about caring for others. And if you have that in you, I think it's a great field. Either entering a hygienist or dentist is you have that soft touch that you want to help someone and change their life from just letting everyone know that, hey, the oral cavity is a gateway to your systemic, right? And if you can't take care of your mouth, then the rest of the body will suffer too. And if you have that innate in you and you want to just help people and you want to be there and you want to see people's life change to the better, then I think this is still a great profession to come into.
Yeah, you mentioned something now, like you just mentioned something, I think it's interesting. So you say that the cavity or something and stuff like that affects the rest of your body as well.
Right, absolutely.
So I have no idea. I learned something new just now.
Right. So, a lot of people think if I have an infection on my hand or my neck or stomach, right, you're running to the doctor. You're going to the urgent care. You're going to your primary care and you want to take care of it. Unconsciously, us human beings, if we have a toothache, or a cavity, say, oh, it's not a big deal. I can take care of it. But the infection in your mouth is no different than an infection on your knee or your stomach, correct? So I'm trying to really basically give you an example to connect that if you're bleeding, and I tell my patients this all the time, if something doesn't seem normal and you're bleeding in the mouth when you're brushing and flossing, that's not normal always. You're not bleeding on your fingers waking up right? Or your big toe is not bleeding when you wake up. But just from brushing and flossing, if you're bleeding, there's chances that you might have an infection. It could be periodontal, gum related, or a tooth. And we got to be a little bit more in tune with that and put urgency in it. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't, you mentioned it. I go, wait, that actually makes sense. Like,
right.
You never put two and two together. Like, you'd go to the doctor for any other thing, but then you think that, oh, it's my mouth, so I can take care of it.
Avoid it, right?
Some people just don't like going to the dentist, so they just rather not go.
Right, and then what happens is, I'm glad you brought up that question because a lot of times, in the example you used, I'm going to piggyback off of. If it's a cavity, it's a small cavity. You drill it, remove the cavity, put it in filling, and you're done. If you wait on the cavity, then it becomes a crown. And then if you wait on that, it becomes a root canal, which when you hear anybody hears that word, their eyes blow up.
Yeah.
You know, just like yours did, your eyebrows went up.
Oh, man.
Root canals can hurt or cause you pain. And then it goes, if you don't take care of that, we hear taking the tooth out. And it's not, and a lot of people will say, well, my age is so-and-so, so I'm getting older, so I should pull my tooth or I'm going to lose it anyway, which is not true, Pedro. We don't lose a finger as we get older. Right? We don't lose an ear as we get older.
Right.
So we're not really supposed to lose teeth as we get older. But that's the part of my job I love, Pedro. If I can educate patients, you know, and friends, I call them, because we have in Boca Raton, I've been there 9 years almost, and now your patients are your friends. And if we can continue the education and just say, hey, this is what's going on, this is what we suggest, and then you're the boss. You do what you want to do.
Well, I'm going off script, but I think it's great because we're talking about this.
Yeah.
What would you tell someone if they're listening? Because I know it's not just me, but what would you tell someone that says, "Hey, I'm not a fan of the dentist. They're very scary." Like, what? Like, what would you tell them? Hey, it's really important to actually go.
Right.
Like, what would be some of the advice you'd give those people, saying, "Hey, yeah, you shouldn't put it off. It's definitely something you should take serious."
So the one thing I took out of the equation, I told you that it's not age related. So the thought process, and we have to stop thinking, is as I get older, I'm going to lose a tooth or lose my health. That's wrong, right? You do lose bone as you get older, but just like our bone changes, your wrist looks different when you're 90 versus 20. Your elbows look different. So yeah, the bone does reform and change. But let's go back to teeth. If you're taking care of your teeth and you're getting a regular hygiene visit, it's either 3 months or 6 months. And that's what the dentist is going to diagnose and the hygienist work together to figure out. But once you're maintained, right, the key word is maintained, you shouldn't need to see a dentist multiple times a year unless you have the problem of a cavity, crown, root canal. But on a regular basis, you're seeing the hygienist. And everybody loves seeing the hygienist because they leave and their teeth feel nice and pretty and white, and I'm blessed. I have great hygienists that work with me on my team. But if you're on a routine maintenance schedule, right, then you're not going to get to see me. And maybe some say hi, but it answers to what you're saying, Pedro. You get less visits with the dentist and more with the hygienist, and that's what health means. That's what good health means, is you're keeping up with your hygienist every 3 to 6 months. And you're removing that infection or bacteria that's in your mouth so it doesn't have a chance to multiply. So I'll give you an example to conclude is if you leave bacteria on a Petri dish, every 90 days it doubles, right?
Oh, wow.
That's 3 months. But if you can get rid of it, and now we're thinking under the gum line between the teeth, you didn't give it a chance to multiply and you're safe.
Oh, wow. That's good. That's a good point. See, we come in, we learn about who you are, and then we just learn about dentistry because that's what we do here. That's awesome.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah. But
so hopefully we didn't make you afraid to come in now.
No, I'm going to come in. I want to come in now. That's a good point. Like, oh, my teeth get older. As you get older, your teeth shouldn't fall out. Your fingers don't fall out.
Right? They shouldn't.
I never thought about that. It's like, yeah, why do we treat the mouth differently than any other part of your body? Good point. Yeah. That's do you have anything else to add before we wrap up this episode?
No. I wanted to say thank you for having me, and you guys are doing a great job here, and I hope to see you soon again. Thanks, Pedro.
Thank you so much for your time. Really
happy
appreciate
holidays,
it.
Right? Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays. Yeah, thank you so much for coming out and talking to us, and we hope to see you soon.
Thanks, brother. Have a good day.
Take care. And that's going to wrap up another episode of Business Highlight for us today. If you enjoyed this episode, you found it informative, share it with people. Tell people about what we're doing here. We're very excited to jump into this new year. This is actually going to be the final episode of 2020. So hard to believe that it's already the end of 2020. But we'll be back in the first week of January with a lot of new shows, a lot of new episodes as well. So stay tuned for that. But for now, thank you so much. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. And we will be talking to you guys soon. Take care now.